We're on the cusp of another Summerslam. It's week 16 of What Happened on My Universe mode. And as always, we began with Raw, which took place in Los Angeles, California. We began with the US Champion, Dean Ambrose, taking on Jack Swagger. This was a nice little opener between the two, both men getting some decent offense in, Jack Swagger in particular getting a lot in the middle. Unfortunately for him though, it wasn't enough, and as always Dean Ambrose pulled out all the stops to get the victory. Despite the fact that Ambrose is not booked on SummerSlam, he will be defending his US Championship on the next week of Universe Mode. Now Sheamus was up against Emmanuel Rusev, of course. And Sheamus didn't get much offense in at all. Rusev brutalized him. Rusev did eventually get a bit bored of beating up Sheamus, so he kicked him in the face and locked him in the accolade, which Sheamus tapped out on eventually. Victory for Rusev. Now Randy Orton continued his feud with a raging Roman Reigns, who ran down and beat his face down, and then beat him down some more. In fact, there was a lot of punching, wasn't there? He threw him across the ring and then speared him to take the win, going to SummerSlam. Last week, the Shield members' match openings were pretty similar. This week, they were pretty similar as well, as Seth Rollins copied Roman Reigns' run to the ring and beat down the face. Unlike the Orton-Reigns match, this one lasted a little longer, Seth Rollins getting the advantage at first before Ryback hit his comeback. After he hit his comeback, he hit his meat hook clothesline. It wasn't enough to keep Rollins down, who then hit a neckbreaker combo. But Ryback had the shell shock in his arsenal, which didn't finish off Seth Rollins, who then hit a frog splash and a curb stomp and pinned him for the victory. We had a pretty big main event on Raw as two big feuds collided when Bray Wyatt teamed with Brock Lesnar to take on John Cena and Daniel Bryan. Now all these men are facing off in singles matches come SummerSlam, but it was a big tag match tonight. The opening few minutes of the bout gave each man a chance to show off what they can do, and they did, with big moves aplenty, German suplexes, half Nelson suplexes and stuff like that. Cena and Daniel Bryan double teamed before Bray Wyatt got a little bit of advantage, but it wasn't much, as Daniel Bryan got his kicks in. Once Brock Lesnar was back in the ring, Daniel Bryan hit the running knee, for a 2 count unfortunately for him. And then, the chaos ensued. Bray Wyatt got a few big moves on John Cena, before John Cena hit a 5-knuckle shuffle, which the crowd obviously loved. Bray Wyatt managed to get a hot tag into Brock Lesnar, but the hot tag didn't lead to much, as Daniel Bryan then reversed the next move and hit another running knee on Brock Lesnar. After getting rid of Bray Wyatt, he managed to get the 3 count on Brock Lesnar. Him and John Cena shook hands afterwards. Now main event was in San Diego, and we opened with Batista taking on Raven. Or should I say, Batista beat up Raven. A lot. He didn't get much offense in at all, did Raven? He hasn't got much offense in at all since he lost the European title, to be fair. He finished it with the Batista bomb. Easy win for Batista. Next up, Magnum TA was against Sting, who was accompanied by the Ultimate Warrior. As the Ultimate Warrior got his singles match last week, Sting wanted one himself, but it didn't go all so swimmingly for Sting, as Magnum TA got a surprising amount of moves in. Strangely, they did battle back and forth for the remainder of the match, both hitting pretty decent moves, like that Spinebuster. Eventually Sting did manage to keep him down long enough to get the Scorpion Deathlock on, in which he tapped out on pretty quickly, with a weird cupped hand. Anyway, next match, it was a tag match, as Chris Jericho teamed with Shawn Michaels to take on Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam. And Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho had a bit of problems deciding who was going to be the opening person. The match opened well for both teams, and had an awesome glitch attack! The glitch though must have knocked Chris Jericho for 6, as he tagged out to Shawn Michaels pretty quickly after that. And Shawn Michaels had a lovely series of moves with Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio. And once we thought Rey Mysterio was down for good, Chris Jericho tagged in like the heel he is. But he wasn't down for good, and he had a series of moves against Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam as well. Once back on the inside, Chris Jericho locked in the Lion Tamer on Rey Mysterio, which he tapped out to. Shawn Michaels, though, wasn't happy for some reason. I'm sure we'll find out soon why. Booker T, the European Champion, took on Mr. Perfect next, in a nice open match. There was an initial early advantage from Booker T, who hit a cool sunset flip and then a spinebuster. But, of course, it was open, so Mr. Perfect had to get some moves in as well, with that sweet dropkick ending it. A Houston Hangover came in next, followed by a scissor kick, which gave Booker T the victory. Post-match though, Stone Cold Steve Austin was there, stating he wants that European title. Triple H didn't let The Undertaker have a proper entrance in the main event of main event, and they started their Extreme Rules match with Triple H in the Ascendance. After beating The Undertaker down quite a bit, Triple H managed to hit the pedigree and went for the pin for a 2 count. And The Undertaker then made this match a little more open, starting with a last ride. Triple H was having none of it, and he reversed the tombstone attempt to hit his own tombstone and went for the pin for 2. He couldn't keep The Undertaker down, and Taker hit a back suplex before getting smacked with a table. But then Undertaker hit a back body drop before getting smacked with a ladder, and then another pedigree, and this time he stayed down for the 3. Though I'm sure this won't be the last time we see these two people face off. Triple H beat him down afterwards, just to be safe. Moving away from the classics, it was time for the future, and NXT was in Montreal, Canada, as Adam Rose tried to stop the losing streak against the German giant, Tim Weiser. He did not end the losing streak. In fact, he didn't hit a move, and Tim Weiser beat the hell out of him. They were spoiling you in NXT's second match, as we had a triple threat match between Brian Kendrick, Sami Zayn, and R-Truth, and it began with a friggin' half Nelson suplex. It slowed down a bit when R-Truth hit a couple of dancing leg drops on both men, before the high flying began again as Sami Zayn jumped on Brian Kendrick. They headed to the outside. We had head scissors and a big face planty move, before Sami Zayn dived again, knocking both men down. Once R-Truth hit his little screwdriver thingy, Sami Zayn knocked him down and hit a haluva kick on Brian Kendrick for the victory. R-Truth almost stopped the pin though. Next up, it was Kalisto v Tyson Kidd, in a little continuation from last week, after they teamed last week and Kalisto didn't even get tagged in. Tyson blamed him for that. They had an awesome little match. Once Tyson Kidd had hit his opening little flurry, Kalisto took over with a spinning heel kick. He ended it with a splash, which got him a 2 count. Then Tyson Kidd hit a blockbuster, which got him a 3 count. So Tyson Kidd's victorious this time. Next up, Bam Bam Bigelow took on JBL as he was defending the honour of his tag team partner, instead of getting revenge on Finlay for last week. His tag team partner is Mojo Rawley, if you didn't realise, who got hospitalised by JBL last week. And this was a brutal match, both men just striking each other constantly, and it headed to the outside. Bam Bam hit a Greetings from Asbury Park, but before he could run back into the ring, JBL hit a drop toe hold and ran back into the ring himself, beating the count and winning by countout. We had something special for you in the main event of NXT as tag team partners collided as Finn Balor defended his NXT title against Hideo Itami. And it didn't disappoint, as this was my match of the week. After the initial opening barrage from both men, Hideo Itami quickly took the advantage with a boot to the face and an arm drag. He hit her back suplex before Finn Balor reversed the fortunes, hitting a Blue Thunder driver. He threw him to the outside and dived on him like a boss. Hideo Itami wasn't finished though, hitting a German suplex and then gaining a comeback. Looks a bit like Daniel Bryan's comeback. Nah, never mind. It wasn't enough to keep Finn Balor down though, who hit a huge dropkick off the top rope followed by a double foot stomp, then his signature dropkick, and then the coup de grace, and all this was enough to keep him down for the pin and retain his title. Hideo Itami though showed respect and lifted the hand of the victor afterwards. Now, as always, we end with Smackdown, which was in Washington DC, and the primetime players Darren Young and Titus O'Neil took on Cesaro and Mark Henry in our opening match. Despite Darren Young hitting the opening move, It did not start well for him, and Cesaro and Mark Henry took him apart to begin with. However, for them, Darren Young did hit a dropkick and then tag into Titus O'Neil, who hit a nice bulldog, but that was about it. Mark Henry beat his head down and then tagged in for the double team. Once Cesaro was in there on his own, he hit his signature gut-wrench suplex, followed by the neutralizer, to take the surprising tag team victory. Mark Henry even managed to stop Darren Young interfering in the pin. Could we have a cool new team here? Alberto Del Rio was back next, and he took on Damien Sandow. And Damien Sandow had his chance. He hit a couple of moves, but it wasn't really enough, as he got caught on the ropes by Del Rio, who then hit a backstabber. After a back suplex, he kicked him in the face, and then locked on the cross arm breaker to get the tap out victory. And after that tap out victory, we had a submission match next, because, you know, universe mode. But Dolph Ziggler got the upper hand pretty much straight away, and didn't let go of it. Miz didn't hit nothing here, which is kind of revenge for last week when he attacked him from behind. After the superplex, Dolph Ziggler hit his DDT and then locked in a sleeper hold, which Miz proceeded to tap out to, giving Dolph Ziggler the victory going into SummerSlam. Now, Cody Rhodes took on his brother and tag team partner, Goldust. After these two haven't been getting along too well recently, so they had a match to settle their differences. Goldust had the early advantage but lost it once Cody Rhodes hit a disaster kick. A couple of moves later and he was hitting a super sweet moonsault. And after the moonsault, he was hitting the crossroads, which gave him the victory. But Goldust, he wasn't too sad about losing. He lifted his brother's hand afterwards. In the main event, World Heavyweight Champion Big Show took on Kofi Kingston in a submission match. But Big Show didn't let Kingston have anything at the start and threw him out the ring, throwing him into the steps a few times and generally beating him down. Once they got back in the ring though, Kofi took the advantage, and it looked like he might actually get something out of this match, especially after the comeback clothesline and the boom drop. But unfortunately for him, this had to end, and they went back to the outside where Big Show kicked his ass and then hit a choke slam. It didn't keep him down too long though, as he managed to get a camel clutch in somewhere, but Big Show reversed that, knocked him out, and then got a camel clutch on himself, which I suppose he tapped out to, but it'd be kind of hard because he knocked him out. Anyway, Big Show won. A few questions from the week. Why did Randy Orton just let Roman Reigns beat him down? Will Seth Rollins come up with something a bit more original next time? Why is Shawn Michaels pissed off about winning a match? Will Stone Cold Steve Austin get his European title shot? And will the Rhodes brothers be on the same page from now on? Find out all this and more next time on What Happened on My Universe Mode. Like and subscribe.